Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Wayne Morris with WHHI TV.
And I'm your host, Carrie Manning with the Village Spa.
And today we have a special treat. It's an all Spring Island panel, and we are coming to you from one of the nicer homes you'll ever be in. It's a home for sale here on Spring Island, and we're going to talk about that in the show later on. But our first guest
is Miss Alice Reid. She is a resident here on Spring Island, and she's here just to give you a sense of community, talk a little bit about her transition here, her transition within the community, and what drew her here to Spring Island.
Our second guest is Ed Swift. Ed is a former sports writer, and he is a part-time resident. He's going to talk to us about how that works, being a part-time resident here on Spring Island, and all the great things that him and his family love to do when they're in town.
And then last but not least, we have Mr. John Strothers. He's a broker in charge here on Spring Island Realty, and he's going to be showcasing this amazing house that we're standing in right now. And he's also going to showcase another home site, which is always another beautiful piece of property. So make sure that you stay tuned for more 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
843 TV, where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Port Royal comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
Welcome to 843 TV. We're here today with Miss Alice Reid. She is a resident here on Spring Island. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
So tell everybody, first of all, where'd you guys come from and what brought you all here to Spring Island?
Well, we came from Maryland. We had a small horse farm up there, and we had also had a place on Kiowa because we wanted a nice warm place in the wintertime to play golf. And we were looking for something with more of a community and more nature-oriented. We found Spring Island. We came here.
That definitely covers those bases, yes, for sure. Yes.
Well, I understand that y'all put your farm in a conservation easement. Is that attachment to nature or respecting nature, is that what brought y'all to Spring Island?
Yes. Where we lived was suddenly having some development pressure. Some people were using that as a place to live and commute into Baltimore. And we were worried about what it was going to do to the countryside. Mm-hmm. So in the early 80s, we and some of our neighbors put our property in a conservation easement.
Wow, that's early. I mean,
yes.
Not many people were doing it during that
yes,
time.
Yes, it was
So does that protect that forever?
Forever, yes. Oh. So when we sold our property, the people that bought it can never develop it. We could have originally had 4 houses on the property, but now it will only be 1 house on that property forever on 22 acres.
More people need to do that.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, they are. Ace Basin, so many people are putting their land in conservation easements.
It's wonderful, and of course Spring Island has done it as well with our conservation easements.
Yeah, I think we have 1,200
yes, so
acres there.
And we get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
We use the trails and so forth.
And that was really, we were talking before we filmed, where you moved from when you had your vacation home in Kiowa and you moved here. Just tell us what are some of the differences between the two communities and what makes this place so special?
Well, first of all, the community. When we were living in a resort, and the feeling of community wasn't really there for us. When we got here, we were just welcomed by other members and really felt like we were part of a community. Mm-hmm. And of course, the way that the nature has been preserved here meant a whole lot to us.
Yeah, that's a big component here.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So when you did move down here, did you buy a home? Did you build? Did you come down in stages?
We bought property in 2005, and my husband was still working at the time, and we decided, well, we'll take our time. But then we immediately built our guest cottage in our garage because we thought, well, we might as well enjoy it while we're here. And then my husband decided it was a good idea to retire and come here. So we built our main house 3 years later, and we moved here permanently then.
Well, now that you are here permanently, how do you spend your days? How do you fill your time?
Well, I play and I do some volunteer work. Playing, I run, I play golf, I do some art stuff, basket weaving, ceramics. I think that's all the fun stuff. Oh, no, the most fun stuff I do is play bridge.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite pastimes here. And then I volunteer in several different areas. One is bluebird monitoring. There are 270, I think, bluebird houses on Spring Island, and there are over 50 monitors, and we go around and we check the bluebird houses and see who's laid eggs and check as they fledge and so forth. And it's really interesting. It's starting right now for this year. We have all the houses, and first the chickadees come in and lay their eggs, and the bluebirds come in and lay their eggs. And we keep track of that and share that with the Cornell School of Ornithology. And I'm also we're called chicken tenders. We have laying hens. We have 32 laying hens here. This is a new project on Spring Island, and we take care of them. We feed them and make sure they have water and clean up after them. And so this is a new project that we take turns. Each of us takes a week.
Well, rumor
taking
has
care
it
of
you
them.
have a pretty fancy little chicken
You
coop.
must come see the chicken. We have several different varieties of chickens, and they're very friendly. They're so used to people that when you come to visit them, they come running over to greet you. It's really quite fun.
Now, do you have your horses here?
I don't have horses here anymore. I do some horseback riding, but I'm not going to have horses anymore. As they say, don't have a hobby that you have to feed when you're sleeping.
I would agree with that.
I'm always amazed every time we come here that there's like a new activity that's so unique that we hadn't heard of the time before. Do the residents, start these clubs and these activities like the bluebird monitoring, or is that something Spring Island provides you with, or how does that originate?
Usually the residents start pretty much everything. For instance, the bluebird monitoring started in the early 90s.
Okay.
So, and it's grown from just a few houses to almost 300.
Wow.
And over 50 volunteers work on it.
It would take that many to cover them all.
It does. It does take a little time, but it's really very interesting to see how they do that. And it makes you really feel part of nature when you're visiting their houses and peeking inside and counting the eggs and so forth. And with the chickens, again, one of the residents got started and got the little chicks and raised them in her garage until we built their Taj Mahal. We also have a Waterfall Farm, which is like a garden, a vegetable garden. Wow. And I go once a week and weed, and we also pick. And most of that food goes to the kitchen and to the residents. And then we also open it up for our employees at the end of the season.
Nice.
So we share with them.
That's
as well.
great.
Yeah.
Well, not even living here, because we've been coming up here for several months now, and no longer than we spend here once a week. We come in, and there is just there's a wonderful, warm feeling that everybody in here is so happy and so nice, and it's like you're all one big happy family.
Well, one of the things that the developers did when they first built Spring Island was they put our mail, we have a mail room. So we don't have mail delivery. So we all have to go to the mail room to collect our mail. So we see each other. So there are so many times when instead of just by yourself going to get your mail or putting your garbage can out at the end of your driveway, you have to go someplace and you'll run into each other at these different places.
I think that's important.
We've heard that.
I think
The mail
Yes,
room's the
that is very neat.
center.
Big meeting place, yes, and also the cookies.
That always helps.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being with us, and make sure that you come right back for more 843 TV.
Welcome back to 843 TV. We now have the pleasure to be joined by Mr. Edward Swift. Edward, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found your way to Spring Island.
Okay, so I was a sports writer, was my career for over 30 years. I was at Sports Illustrated, and my in-laws actually bought down here. And so we're like second generation because we came and we'd visit them three times and just fell in love with the place and said we want our own lot down here. So we bought a lot and eventually built, and now I'm retired and spending more and more time.
That's great.
Love it.
How long have you been here?
Well, the lot we bought in 2000, and we built the house in 2003. My wife wanted to. Our boys at that point were younger, and she wanted to have the house. I was going like, whoa, slow down. And she wanted them to imprint on Spring Island before they got out of the house and had their own lives and whatnot. And looking back on it, I'm glad that's what we did. It was a little earlier timetable than I thought we were going to have, but so we've now been here 12 years and are still discovering things. We just are as in love with Spring Island as we were the first time we saw it.
And what do you all do while you're here?
Well, I tell friends of mine that this is like adult summer camp.
It kind of is.
Yeah, we've said that before.
In a good way.
That's a good analogy.
You don't have to do any of this stuff, but we tend to sign up for things. So like you, Alice, I signed up this year to be a Bluebird monitor. I play a lot of golf, but this is not a golf community. That would be the wrong way to characterize it, but they have an excellent golf course. I quail shoot just off island. We have a relationship with a plantation, and which I know that Mike does, and I fish, and my wife is a big fisherman, as am I, and for redfish, for freshwater bass, Spring Island is just both on the island and in the surrounding estuaries, fabulous fishing. We're gardeners, and so we use the community garden. We enjoy that. I am just going to pick up croquet, which I know sounds like for very old person's game, but I'm told it's not. And we have a first-class croquet, court here, and so the days, they are easily filled. And I still do a little work at home, so it's the days fly by. I have no trouble filling the hours.
I always love to hear about where people from here go on vacation. I mean, it's just the most fantastic vacations. I know y'all go on some backroads vacations, and you just came back from one with another couple here, didn't you?
Yeah, we went with the Crossmans, who were early pioneers here on the island, and raised their two kids here. They're, I think, the only family to have done so. But Billy and Allison Crossman and we went to Patagonia fishing.
Really?
We were there 10 days and had a great trip, and it was something that I hope we'll do again. And I know that is that's the sort of friendships you do make on the island, is people that you want to go places with and do other things with, not just stay here. And that was the first time we vacationed with the Crossmans, and we just had a ball, had a wonderful trip.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way to go, isn't it? Mm. Yeah.
So are you and your wife full-time residents now? Or?
We're not yet, no, but we intend to become in the next couple of years. As I said, I'm now retired. As a writer, you can live anywhere, and so there's no real reason for us not to spend more time here. I still play a little hockey up north, and so that's the one thing you can't do down here is play hockey. And so until I officially retire my skates, hang them up, I'll still be spending part of the winter up in Boston, which was a good winter to miss this year.
I was getting ready to say, this is a good reason to be here right now for sure.
Yeah, so.
Now, do your boys come back?
They do. They come. They're both working now. They're both in Chicago, and so it's hard to get them as often as we like, but they love it down here. They both love the golf course and they love to fish. And so I think they're coming down for March. We had them here for Thanksgiving, and that's always a very busy time of year on the island because so many families do come down here. And the other time they like to come is New Year's. We have a big New Year's celebration actually at the Crossmans, or they're the hosts, and we go down to the gazebo at Bonnie Shore and set off fireworks, which is legal in South Carolina. And that's another time they like to be. There are a lot of young people that are here around New Year's.
That's a special time, isn't it? I mean, isn't that a tradition?
Yeah, it is. It has become so. I think we've done it about 8-9 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about community every show, but especially this show. And some people, when they ride through, they come across the bridge and they see all the greenery and everything, and you ride through the neighborhoods and you can't see the homes from the road. So some people may get the impression that means people are secluded and and not a part of the community. That's obviously not true. What can you say to that? I mean,
Yeah, that if that is a perception, it's an incorrect one. This is the easiest place to meet people I've ever been. I mean, Boston is somewhat reserved. I would say quite reserved. So when we came down here, it's just they introduce themselves. There are invitations for dinner. There's activities you sign up for. Look, you don't have to do any of this stuff, but if you're active and if you're interested in meeting people, this is the easiest place in the world to do that, because there are men's golf groups, there's women's golf groups, there's men's bridge, women's bridge. All these are, I'm in the chorus. We have a little singing chorus. We need more men. But that's, these are all welcoming groups and communities that it's just easy to meet people.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hide in their houses. They're all beautiful houses. They want to get out, and so they take advantage of these. When the golf shop puts together a couples twilight golf and dinner thing, people sign up.
Yeah.
And so very, very easy to meet people and to meet new people. You're not stuck with the same group. Always new faces coming in, and everybody's welcoming.
good. Well, thank you for sharing your experiences with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And stay with us. We'll be back with more 843 TV.
Welcome back to 843 TV. We're here now with Mr. John Strother. He's the broker in charge here on Spring Island. So today we are in another beautiful home here on Spring Island, which I feel like I'm on repeat because we say that every time we do this, but it's really true. So our first home feature is going to be 114 Spring Island Drive. So tell everybody a little bit about this gorgeous house.
Yeah, usually we're out in the community, we're in places and things like that. So I thought it'd be nice to be inside of one, because all these homes, we always talk about how different they are.
And they are all very unique.
We've been waiting for this. We've been wanting to see one of these things.
I know. I thought I'd give you a treat here, and myself one too.
A huge treat.
Yeah, so this is a barn it was a barn in Ohio. The couple that owns this house brought it down here, and they had Gullah and Hall build Thomas and Denzinger design it. That was the architectural firm that designed it, and then they had Gullah and Hall build it. And they had Amish workmen from Ohio build the cabinets. Everything in this house came from that barn. Everything in this house is specific to this house and to this site. This is a 10-acre site. They put together 2 home sites. We have 400 acres on the marsh. The sunsets here are just spectacular.
There's not a bad view in any room in this house.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, it is amazing. No matter where you're at in this house, you have an amazing view of the marsh.
Isn't it something else?
it's breathtaking. It really is.
Yeah, and every Barbara, the owner of the house, Lee and Barbara, she thought out every detail here. The cow behind us.
Yeah, we love the cow.
I know. That's Frida. And she had, I think, 8 of those painted, and she decided on F, A through G or whatever it was, Frida, because it's black, left-facing cow. I mean, that
That's
detail.
specific.
Yeah, and so there's a TV behind that, and that goes up. Just everything about this, the sink, the soapstone sink in the kitchen is carved from a solid boulder. Custom hood going up. Everything in here is specific to their lives. An air-conditioned tack room, beautiful porches. Lee loves.
And there's a porch off every room, and there it seems like it's.
Yeah, off the bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah, Lee sleeps on the porch a lot.
I can see that. I would too.
When the weather's nice, it works.
Yeah, and they have an acre corral out front because they both ride, and so they like to ride here and put their horses up, come here for lunch, and then go back more, and then go to the stable.
Not a bad day.
Yeah.
It's a good day. It's kind of like Eddie said. It's
Now, is there also a guest house, did you say, for this house?
Yes. You go over a ravine, and the guest house is made with the reclaimed
So it
lumber.
has the same theme, kind of?
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell just looking through the kitchen and the walls. I mean, it's just everything's been done with such care and no expense spared. You can tell it's very, very well done.
Exactly. Everything is specific to this house. And I had 25 realtors in here the other day, and a lot of them came up to me and said, "We've never been in a house this nice."
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so warm and cozy and comfortable. It doesn't feel, a lot of times when you get all these windows and the big open ceilings, it feels cold and uncomfortable. And with all the wood, I love wood walls anyway. That's kind of my thing. But no, I love it.
And it's 4-bed, 4-bath.
Yes, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. That's including the guest house. So the main house is only, I think, like an office, 1 bedroom. I think there's a 2nd bedroom and an attack room. So, you know, it's not a big house, but it's probably one of the most comfortable houses in the country.
Yeah. So moving away from the home feature, how about the home sites? I know you've got one that you want to talk about that's home site 330, 179 Spring Island Drive.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That's on Lower Goose Pond. That's a really nice home site, and it's a great story. The people have owned that for quite some time, and they'll come down here visiting. We featured a home last month. There was a little red cottage. Mm-hmm. They bought that little cottage. So they're transitioning into, they want to stay here longer, and so they want to be there. And the people that own that cottage bought a bigger house on the marsh. So
everybody's playing musical houses.
That does.
Can you move up?
Yeah.
The more time you want to spend here, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, people build cottages, then move up to full-time homes. There's a lot of fluid movement within the community. People with bigger homes moving into smaller homes. Yeah. And so that's a wonderful site. I think that's listed at $115,000. It's a trophy bass pond. I mean, we specifically manage that so that you're going to catch a real big bass out there. Yeah, it really is, if you're a bass fisherman.
That's a fisherman's dream. Right
there. Exactly.
Walk out in your backyard and catch a trophy bass. That's not a bad deal. Well, earlier we saw a little bit of construction going on at Walker's Landing.
Yes. Well, we're doing 2 things down there. We're, and one of them, we'll talk about the other maybe next month, but we have a summer house down there, which was a screen pavilion. It's right on the river, and we'd have it for special functions during the summertime. So it was kind of limited as when we could use it. In the art barn, we were having our trust talks, and our trust talks have gotten to the point where we have so many people that come, it was getting too small.
That's great.
It's a big turnout.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. And they have talks every Thursday night. There's wine and hors d'oeuvres, and everybody listens to people about the ecology, maybe nature, health, you know, whatever current events, foreign affairs, and then they go down to the river house and dine. You know, from that they order at that time. So we're enclosing the river house or the summer house down at Walker Landing, and we're going to be able to seat 150 people in there now. So and have special events year-round. So we'll be there on the river, you know, beautiful views, and just a wonderful place to...
That's a really neat location.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We've had a blast again here, just meeting so many great people and hearing about some great opportunities to move here.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested, what do? They just call the office or get on the website. What do you recommend?
Yeah, go to the website, springisland.com, or call 843-987-2200, and we'll be happy to help out with anything.
All righty. Thanks for your time today. And thank you for watching 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.